I think two of the biggest barriers are people think cooking is a lot of effort. They just think it's like, I don't have time to do that. And then they think healthy food tastes bad. I think there's also an unhealthy side of eating so healthy 100% of the time. That also stresses you out. Better for you, look at your ingredients. That stressed me out. So you have to dial it back. Now, definitely I'm more of 80-20. Everything has to be clean. Builds obsession in its own way.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be so black and white with that. You have to have a little bit of flexibility with it. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself insane. Most women have struggled with a relationship with food.
100%.
The balance thing is really huge. Eat food that makes you feel good. Getting into your kitchen, playing with ingredients, getting creative, building a relationship with it. Taste your food. It's all experimentation. That's where some of the best recipes come from. It's just a creative flow.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to Project Longevity, sponsored by Brello Health. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caulen Foster, and this podcast is all about things life, lessons, and longevity. Each episode, I sit down with top industry leaders in the health and wellness space who are helping to shape the evolution of modern healthcare. With that being said, today we have Megan Sheley, who is a tell-it-like-it-is foodie turned recipe developer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. After navigating her own autoimmune disease, she launched her social channels to empower others to connect with food, whether through shopping, experimenting with flavors, or getting creative in the kitchen. You might recognize Megan from season 4 of Next Level Chef. And when she's not in the kitchen, Megan can be found foraging for mushrooms during peak season, exploring local farmers markets with her dog, or jetting off on her next adventure. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Same.
Yeah.
So I always start with understanding, you have a very dynamic story. You're obviously have so much knowledge and information. How did you get started in the recipe, nutrition, and cooking space?
Yeah. I think I always like to start with childhood because I was obsessed with food as a kid. Like in a weird way.
Yeah.
I would go to overnight camp for 2 weeks and everyone was writing back to their parents of like, oh my God, we went kayaking, we did rock climbing. And I was like, yo, the salad bar? I was like 6 years old geeking out over food.
Yeah.
So I loved food as a kid. I majored in public health in college. And then when I graduated college, I went into marketing, didn't really do anything with my degree. My job was acquired. So we were all laid off. I moved to Thailand for a year.
Okay.
And while I was there, I was like, you know what? That wasn't doing it for me. I want to do something where I'm helping people. I'm inspiring people. I'm using my creative hands and mind to do something and create. And I went back to school for nutrition. And then I started working with people one-on-one as a nutrition coach. I would go into their house. I would help meal prep for them. I would clean out their pantries and do like, wipe out all the shit pretty much.
Yep.
And then I started sharing my recipes online, my better for you recipes. That's how I started out.
Yes.
And those are what took off. And that's where I realized I really liked being. It wasn't working with people necessarily one-on-one. I wanted to reach a wider variety of people, and social media was such a great tool for that.
Yeah.
So that's where I realized I liked being, was in my kitchen and working with my hands.
Yeah. What was it about cooking for the masses, so to speak, that really drove you to start zeroing in on specific recipe types, for example? Like, are there any specific recipe types that you like that the masses really gravitate towards, like as opposed to like when you're, doing one-on-one work?
Yeah, I just think that what appealed to me was that I was able to reach such a wider audience, you know?
Yeah.
And I knew there was a market for people who wanted to learn how to fuel their body with better ingredients.
Yeah.
Honestly, in America, it's pretty hard to eat really healthy.
Yeah.
We see, I mean, our food is heavily processed. You have to put in a lot of effort to fuel your body with good food.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, I mean, the main way to do that is to be in your own kitchen.
What do you think is the number one barrier that prevents people from getting started from pursuing recipes like the ones that you create? Because they're accessible. So why don't more people use them?
I think two of the biggest barriers are, one, people think cooking is a lot of effort. They just think it's like, I don't have time to do that. And then the second is they think healthy food tastes bad. And I don't know where that came from. I just think people assume health as eating kale. All day, every day.
Right.
And that's just not how healthy eating needs to look all the time. I think those are the two biggest things that intimidate people of like, no, I don't want food that tastes like nothing.
Yes.
And I don't want to put the time in to cook.
Right. What's been your favorite recipe that, I know it's kind of probably like asking your favorite kid. but like, what has been your favorite recipe to date that was like the most surprisingly like delicious? You're like, wow, this was really, really good.
So it's funny. My favorite recipe is for sure the one I call it my life-changing lasagna soup.
Okay.
Because it really did change my life almost overnight. It was the one recipe that went so viral. I was able to take my content creation full time.
Wow.
Within 4 days, it had like 55 million views.
Holy cow.
It was over COVID, and I had management teams reaching out to me, and it really did allow me to change my life within a week. I don't know if I could pick a favorite recipe, but that one is probably my most.
What made that one so special? What made the?
I think it was a little bit of the timing. I created it during COVID. I was sick at home with COVID. I was like, I really want lasagna and I really want soup. I'm going to get both. And then I was like, actually, I'm just going to combine them. And I made lasagna soup, and it blew up. And I've had people come up to me at airports and they're like, are you the lasagna soup girl?
Oh
it's
my God. That's
it's so funny. Yeah. It's so weird. And that's how Gordon Ramsay's team found me for Next Level Chef too.
I know you have quite a bit of experience with autoimmune disease and different ailments in which you've leveraged your knowledge and nutrition to kind of overcome some of those things. Can you speak a little bit more about your belief system when it comes to how food impacts the overall condition of the body?
Yeah. I mean, food, I think, is one of I would say in the top 3 most important things when it comes to managing and keeping autoimmune diseases in remission.
Yeah.
Autoimmune diseases are inflammation at the end of the day, chronic inflammation. And unhealthy food causes inflammation.
Yes.
So I have to be very mindful of the food that I put into my body, which is why I cook a lot at home, because that allows me to be in control of that.
Yeah.
I have, an 80-20 balance. A lot of the times I'm going, out to eat to dinners, and I want a chocolate chip cookie, and I love sweets, and I have to, I think there's also an unhealthy side of eating so healthy 100% of the time. That also stresses you out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I was that for a bit. I got into that, that better for you, look at your ingredients, read everything. And that stressed me out. So you have to dial it back a little bit.
That's an interesting point, because it's like the very eating regimen that you may want to follow that can reduce your inflammation could actually stress you out, because you have to follow it to a T. And then you get to a point where you're like, if you're not eating like that, you're stressed out, which creates inflammation.
100%.
Yeah. I've never, you're not the first person that said it, but I've never really had it put in that perspective. So
it's tough. Yeah.
is it the 80-20 rule? Is that kind of like how you position it in your mind?
Now, definitely I'm more of 80-20. I used to be, like I said, I used to go hard 100% of the time. Everything has to be clean. And that builds obsession in its own way.
Yeah.
You can't be so black and white with that. You have to have a little bit of flexibility with it. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself insane.
It's a constant conversation that you see online, which is the relationship with food.
Yeah.
Right? How did you develop a healthy relationship with food?
Most women at some point in their life have struggled with a relationship with food.
100%.
Yeah. So I think for me, the balance thing is really huge. And it makes me feel good too. I think if you can eat food that makes you feel good, that's also going to build a healthy relationship with food. And also, I think something that helps your relationship with food is familiarizing yourself with it. Getting into your kitchen, playing with ingredients, getting creative with it, and just building a relationship with it.
Yeah.
That builds that health with it.
Yeah. And maybe that's kind of, it goes back to how you came up with your lasagna soup, right? Like you just decided to experiment.
That's the best part about food. I think that's another thing that holds people back from cooking is they get intimidated by it. And I don't know how to cook this. I don't know what pairs with that. I don't know if this ingredient's going to pair well. It's like, play with it, try it, taste your food.
Yeah.
It's all experimentation. That's where some of the best recipes come from. Is just people like, oh yeah, that's what's fun about cooking. It's just a creative flow. Do you have any
like ingredients that you prefer to work with that you think make for a great base?
I think there's like a good components to every recipe. And I mean, it's the basis of fat, salt, acid, heat, because that makes a cohesive recipe. But I would say herbs are super underutilized, fresh herbs. They enhance a dish immediately, not only from a flavor perspective, but from a looks perspective. If you have like a red or yellow curry, add cilantro or green onions, immediately it transforms the dish in the way it looks because you added a pop of green. It's contrast.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think herbs are underutilized, and spices, especially somebody coming from the Midwest. Oh my God. People just use salt and pepper. I'm like, you guys, we gotta be seasoning this is why people don't like chicken breast, because you're boiling it and then putting salt on it.
Yes.
You gotta season it. Play with your food. We have seasonings from all over the world at our fingertips. So let's utilize them. And they all have health benefits too. Like I cook with turmeric so much because I have inflammation in my body. And turmeric is the number one most potent anti-inflammatory naturally found on the earth. So it's like, my naturopathic doctor has me on a turmeric supplement daily to manage my autoimmune disease.
And you've seen a tremendous difference?
Immediately.
Wow.
Within days when he put me on that.
Just turmeric?
I'm on turmeric and curcumin, and then I'm on EGCG, which is the active compound found in green tea.
Okay, yes.
So just all natural stuff.
So your entire anti-inflammatory regimen, is it largely naturopathic?
It is.
Nice.
Yep. So I was I was sick for about 3.5 years before any doctor figured out what was wrong.
Okay.
And autoimmune diseases are so common in our generation, but doctors don't know a lot about them. Like they diagnosed me after 3 years and I asked questions. They had no answers to the disease that I have.
Yeah.
And I was really shocked by that. I had to do my own research. They gave me a steroid to take and I said, thank you, but no thank you. I'll take it, but I'm not going to take it.
Sure.
And then I went straight to my naturopathic doctor. He did some blood tests on me, looked at all my markers. My inflammation markers were skyrocketed. And he put me on all natural supplements. And within 2 weeks, I was in remission after being sick for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this statistic is true, but from my research, I think I found that 80% of autoimmune disease affect women.
Yes.
I think it's largely like men are very like a minority.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think contributes to that?
Stress.
Stress?
Yeah.
How women process stress versus men?
How women process stress. I think women just take on more stress emotionally.
Yeah.
So it affects like our mind a little bit more, I think. And then the more we are taking on in our mind, our bodies hold on to it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so as you've kind of learned to control it through natural methods, are there things that you would tell other people based on your experience to avoid that create inflammation? Like, processed sugar, for example. I don't know what you would identify.
Yeah, I think from a food perspective, the big inflammatory ones I would say are refined sugars in large amounts. Like if you're a little bit a day, sure, whatever. I wouldn't say like overdo it. I think alcohol is a huge inflammatory. I cut out alcohol for 1.5 years when I was diagnosed, and that helped with my inflammation. I don't have a problem with dairy, but I mean, you see so many dairy allergies, especially in the US. I just think the way we farm and, everything's injected with hormones and, that can be inflammatory. But I do think stress is like the biggest inflammatory trigger for women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the first person that says that, and lack of sleep are like the two most common things I hear a lot here.
Yeah.
It's like sleeping well and managing your stress are like it's a theme.
Yeah.
So you're definitely like right on line with what I've heard.
Yeah. So when I went into my naturopathic doctor after I had a flare-up, an autoimmune flare-up. It was actually while I was on Next Level Chef.
Okay.
So I had to pull out of that competition.
Oh, really?
Because I had a horrific autoimmune flare-up. I could not compete. So I had to go home early. It was very devastating. But I went to my naturopathic doctor after that because I was really sick. And he said, the number one reason I see patients come in here from being pulled out of remission is grief from death, divorce, and stress.
Wow.
It's the number one.
Lifestyles.
Yeah. Big things happening. And it's sad because stress is so oftentimes out of our control.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And on Next Level Chef, I wasn't actually stressed, but in my body, my adrenaline was pumping so hard. My body probably was like, this bitch is being chased by a bear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had cortisol running through my system for 4 weeks straight.
Yes.
And my autoimmune was like,
your
something's happening.
Yeah, your body couldn't handle it. And
No.
it kind of goes back into like, sometimes if you ruminate so much in your head, your body thinks that that's actually what's happening.
Exactly.
So it can have the same, anxiety as well. Are there any management tips that you would have for somebody who's looking to manage stress that you've possibly used? Because I'm sure in addition to your naturopathic doctor and the methods that you're using, there has to be some like stress mechanisms that you're leveraging in your daily life?
For sure. I would say my biggest ones are sleep. I sleep great, so that's never been an issue for me. Exercise is so important, moving my body daily, even if it's just for a 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
My environment, I've realized, is very important to me. That's why I just made the move to California.
Okay.
I need nature. I need water. I need sunshine. I need to be able to step outside at 8 a.m. and get sunshine first thing in the morning. So my environment is very important for me. And then breath work has been really helpful for me.
Okay.
Just helps calm. My nervous system has been a little, I would say, stressed out for the last couple of years, just managing some big life changes and managing a chronic disease that I have for the rest of my life. So I think just being able to calm down and let my body know that we're safe.
Right.
Breath work has been helpful.
The one challenge that I think a lot of people are trying to figure out is I can't get into that. I can't get my body there. Right.
I think with meditation and breath work, meditation is really hard for me too, because you really do have to learn to quiet that mind entirely. Breath works feels easier because it's something that I feel like I can control a little bit more. Whereas meditation, it's like, I almost put like so much pressure on myself of just like, oh, shut up,
Right.
But breath work is more just like, that's actually you being in control of the breath. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it actually does make a lot of sense because you're right. Because like me, I'm not a great meditator.
Meditation's hard.
It's very hard because you can't quiet the mind.
It's
and then
hard.
You're putting the pressure on that you're not quieting the mind.
Totally.
Like, am I meditating? Am I not meditating?
Totally. Did I just fall asleep? Like what just happened?
Right. And what you're saying is breath work is different in that you're just controlling your breath.
For sure.
You're not trying to.
That's all you have to focus on.
Right.
Yeah.
It is the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's tangible because you're breathing.
We're calm.
Yes.
We're not hyperventilating right now. So you can still be thinking things while doing breath work.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't feel the pressure.
I find that the only time I've actually been able to meditate, which has only been like 2 or 3 times, is after a really long run.
Okay.
It's like when my mind feels, it's almost like a runner's high.
Yep.
All my thoughts have already gotten out of my head.
Yeah.
And I can just sit there and that's like the best time for me to just zone out.
Yeah. Mine was, the one time I meditated was, it was a sound bowl, sound healing thing.
Oh yeah. Those are nice.
I mean, but again, it goes back to what you said. Did I fall asleep or did I meditate? Because I have no idea. I opened my eyes and it was like 45 minutes later. I was like, holy shit, where was I for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
So I get it. So now as one of the questions that I like to ask all of our guests, I always say that, we're all writing our own comeback story. A lot of our members are writing their own comeback story. I always like to get a feel for where some of our experts and the people that we have on the podcast have been in terms of writing their comeback story. What is a time in your life where you were, having a hard time? You were kind of like, I don't know where to go from here, but yet you kind of managed to muster it up, get yourself together and say like, all right, and now you're in a better place because of doing that.
Yeah, I would say my biggest hurdle in the last 5 years was when I was diagnosed with my autoimmune disease, because having an autoimmune disease that's directly affected by the food that I eat in a career that the career that I work in is food and cooking. I was like, how do I navigate this disease while being food obsessed and sharing food with my audience? And I almost, I had those thoughts of like, is this something that I'm going to have to give up?
Yeah.
Because I felt so intimidated by having to manage a disease through food.
Yeah.
But I was able to, I just opened up about my autoimmune disease on social media.
Got it.
And I was so surprised at how many women specifically came into my messages of like, thank you so much for opening up about this.
Yeah.
I suffer from X, Y, and Z. And then I started sharing recipes that were inflammation friendly or like autoimmune disease friendly, or here's something that helps my GI when I'm having a flare up. You know what I mean? So I was able to incorporate my disease into my content. And now I just talk about it very openly. So it just makes me feel a little bit more human. And I think people value that on social media.
Sure.
Instagram specifically can be so almost like robotic and curated.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to be able to talk about.
That's why I think it's important for people like yourself who are bringing up a lot of these topics that are like, yeah, I'm dealing with this and here's exactly how I'm dealing with it. There's no crazy filters. There's no crazy podcast studio. It's just you navigating through your actual life. It's a series of your life and the journey that you're living.
Yeah.
When you got diagnosed, did you immediately lean into food as like some foods that could be the culprit? Did you know that food could play a role in it? Or was that something that you were like kind of made aware of because of the autoimmune disease?
I played with food a lot when I was really sick before my diagnosis. But once I was officially diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that I realized directly affected my GI, I knew that food was going to be a big culprit or help.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So I really I cut out alcohol. I cut out a lot of refined sugars, basically anything that caused inflammation. I could not digest any raw vegetable at all. So I had to change a lot of things about my diet.
Wow.
So it is also just really hard being told that you have a chronic illness.
Yes.
I was 30 years old when I was diagnosed, I think. Yeah. And it's really hard. And it took me a while. It still does. Like when I have a flare up, I'm like, it hits me again of like, this is something that I have to manage for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know? So it's really hard being told that you have something for life.
How do you manage that thought process? Because I know there's a lot of people who struggle with a lot. I mean, it could be addiction. You know, there's a lot of people who struggle with lifelong ailments. How do you process that idea of lifelong? Is there...
I cry a lot.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. It did take a while to accept it. But when I have those moments that it feels hard, it's just kind of like, hey, listen, this is the reality. And I'm going to do what I need to do or have to do in order to feel my best.
Yep.
You know, everyone, like you said, everyone's battling something, you know, and this is just one of my battles.
Yeah.
And it's shaped a big part of my brand online. So that's just like, I kind of just take these things that come at me at life. I'm like, okay, I guess this is part of my brand now.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you really turned it into something that is helpful to others.
Yeah. If I can turn around, I think that's like a big part of like my purpose of why I'm here. You know, everyone has to have their thing. I think a big part for me is I love helping people. And if I can make one person feel less alone in their autoimmune disease, that for me is enough. Like if I can open up about something that I have experience with and somebody's like, you helped me through that, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I just think it's so important to talk about those things.
What's next for you? Any new shows?
I don't know if I'd do like a back-to-back competition the way Next Level Chef was. It was a little too much for me.
Yep.
But I do love being on TV. I'm probably going to be starting like a YouTube channel soon. So more longer form content of kind of like cook along with me. You know, it's like a live cookbook.
Yep.
So if you want to make this, open up your laptop and cook with me.
That's
so I'm
super
thinking that's next.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do people connect with you?
They can connect with me on social media. My name is Megan Sheley on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I also have a website, megansheley.com.
Thank you so much for being here. That was an amazing podcast. If you guys would like to learn more, please visit brellohealth.com, or you can visit us on Instagram at brellohealth. Look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy.